Hello, David here with Northwest Outdoor Ventures, and welcome to the podcast. This is a little precursor to the episode you're about to listen to, which was filmed some time back. I think it was a couple weeks before the Tahoe 200, and so it took us a while to get this out. I had some computer issues, and then I had some travel for work and other things, so a bunch of excuses as to why this didn't get up in time. But the primary one and the main reason I'm giving this precursor is because the audio quality is not the best. So we had some technical difficulties that we didn't realize until after we filmed it. So unfortunately, you're getting the GoPro audio, which to me doesn't sound that great, although I think it's bearable. So hopefully it's okay enough for you guys to listen to, and I'll just apologize in advance because even though we are a small operation, I like to have good audio quality, and this is below that standard, but what can you do at this point? So right as I cough into the mic. So if you're watching this, I apologize for you seeing me in this current state, and I'm also sick now, which is why we're not filming the Tahoe episode right now. So when I get rid of this cough, we'll film that. And spoiler alert, I did not finish it, so oh God. So anyways, kick back, enjoy the episode. I hope it's somewhat entertaining, and I hope the audio quality is not too bad. We'll catch you guys hopefully by the end of this week. Maybe I'll be not coughing enough for us to get this episode out. We can talk about Tahoe in the future and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching or listening, and I'll catch you next time. Enjoy the episode. Hello, David here.
With Courtney.
And this is the post-race podcast, episode unknown.
Maybe 14.
Could be 14, could be 13, could be 12, I don't know. Nobody knows. So, long time no see. Had a pretty big hiatus there. I don't remember what the last episode was. Was it
I don't think we did Millersylvania. So, yeah, probably Smith Rock.
Okay, so that was a while ago. I guess that was in May. So June, July, August, and today is September 1st. So actually September 2nd. So it has definitely been a while. So what happened? What's going on? Well, a lot has happened actually, and not all good. So part of the reason why this podcast is belated and isn't about the races that it was supposed to be about. So I guess taking a time machine back in time to when I had just finished Smith Rock, I already wasn't doing too great because I had DNF'd at least one race. I DNF'd 2 races actually. Was that right? Yeah. So I DNF'd the Yakima Skyline and Sun Mountain already this year.
And I also DNF'd the Yakima Skyline Rim. Yeah.
And so I did Smith Rock because I had DNF'd, those things. And I was like, all right, I need something to get me back into like actually running an ultra. So that was the plan, is that I did that. And then the next race, I guess, on the calendar would have been, let me see here.
When was Smith Rock?
So whatever we did in June. Why East Wonder. Okay, yeah. Why East Wonder 50K. That would have been the June race. So we were planning to do that. And both of us, actually, that was going to be your kind of big race for the year, was the 50K. So, and don't worry, we'll get into the actual race that the title is posted for here. And if you don't care about kind of the history of how we missed a bunch of races and stuff, then feel free to skip ahead a little bit in the podcast. But this probably won't take too long. So anyways, yes, we were planning on doing the Y East Wonder 50K. And you ended up not being able to go because why?
I don't know why.
I think you just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I think that was why too. I just don't think I was prepared or hadn't trained well enough and just didn't want to start.
Yeah, so she was not going to do it. And I was still okay with going by myself and doing it, but the logistics for that race kind of suck. So
wasn't it really hard?
Yeah, it was like a one-way bus that you had to take to start because it's a point-to-point race. And So there was a bunch of stuff that made it kind of logistically annoying to do. And it was kind of a long drive, and I had just done Smith Rock not that long. I think it was, 2 or 3 weeks before this. So I was like, I don't want to deal with that, basically. And so I dropped, or, I DNS'd, did not start. Even though the race looked beautiful, looked like it was a good day, it just, logistically, it was going to be a bit of a nightmare to deal with and do. So I said, forget it for myself. Courtney was undertrained, underprepared, didn't want to do it. So that was that. And then the next big one was going to be, so really what I did instead of that, I guess it was the week after, or actually it was the same day.
It was the same, yeah.
Yeah, we did Millersylvania.
Yeah.
That's right. So on the same day, Millersylvania took place, which is actually a really cool race, and it's in our backyard. It's in Olympia. There's a state park called Millersylvania State Park, and it's kind of a hidden gem, really, in here. I really, really like those trails, and we both run those a lot for training, and especially in the winter, it's a good one because there's hardly ever any snow or anything. It's a bit muddy, but because it's kind of swampy.
And it's relatively flat as well.
Yeah, I think for this race, the Millersylvania one that I'm talking about, you had a couple different options. You could do a 10K, a 30K, or a 50K. And that's because it took place over 10K loops. So each loop was, 6.2 miles. Really, it wasn't. It was like 5.9, 5.8.
Yeah.
But either way, the trails are just beautiful there, and they're so butter and easy to run on. And it's just a pleasant place. And you're surrounded by water and stuff, so it's never too hot. So anyways, I did the 30K.
Yeah, and I did the 10K. And I don't think I had ran more than a mile or two outside at all. Like, I had completely stopped running for at least like 2 months. I don't really know why. I just kind of fell off the bandwagon of running and just didn't really care anymore. So when he said he was signing up for that race, I was like, yeah, I should probably sign up for that as well. But I'm definitely not doing the 50K or the 30K. So I just did the 10K, which was a lot of fun.
So you did do Tiger Claw like a month before this.
Oh, shoot. Tiger Claw. Yeah, that's right. When was that? May 4th. Okay. I forgot about Tiger Claw. Yeah. Tiger Claw. Yeah. Actually, I guess I did do Tiger Claw. But before I did Tiger Claw, I hadn't really trained at all. So I hadn't done like any training really at all. Then I did Tiger Claw, which I was like terrified to do. And then after Tiger Claw, I hadn't ran at all until this race. Like, I'd probably run like a mile or two the furthest I'd gone. Is that right?
Could be. I don't know. I'll keep track of your training.
I think that is right.
So yeah, you were a potato sack.
Yeah.
Couch potato, not doing nothing.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So yeah, I did the 30K, and I actually didn't do too bad looking at my ultra sign up because I had that pulled up right now in front of me to try to remember all these things. And I guess I got 11th overall, 6th male, out of I think like 100 people or something like that. And it's a fun race. I mean, it's, like I said, it's kind of fast if you want it to be. There's not a lot of climbing. I think there's like 100 feet of climbing for each loop. So every 6 miles, you got 100 to like 300 feet, depending on what your watch says, I suppose. And that race was pretty uneventful for me. I mean, nothing really. I just ran the whole time. It's probably the furthest I've ran continuously in a really long time because it's 17 miles.
Did you walk at all?
Well, I guess technically it's 18 point whatever. 18.6 is what it's supposed to be. No, I didn't walk at all.
That's
so
good.
I did have really bad stomach issues, and Courtney forgot her ID because you have to have your ID to get your bib for the bib pickup. And so luckily we only live like 15 minutes away from this park. And my race started an hour before Courtney's. So we drove there.
That was definitely lucky.
Yeah, we drove there, do a big pickup, and mine is like right before the race starts. Like I got there maybe 10 minutes before the start of the race, which didn't mean to, but that's just the way it worked out. And so I got my stuff, and Courtney's like, well, I can't get mine because I don't have my ID that they told us to bring. And so she had to drive back herself.
You're trying to make me look really bad. I just forgot an ID. Like, I didn't bring my purse to this because I wasn't driving. He was driving. And so I just like accidentally forgot my purse and then realized like when we were there, oh yeah, you need your ID to get the packet pickup. So that was why I forgot it. It wasn't like that big of a deal.
I'm just saying it certainly wasn't the race's fault for not warning you because they warned you the night before.
Yeah, but it's like people forget all the time.
Yeah.
And I forgot.
I'm not faulting you for that. I'm just explaining that's what happened. And so.
But luckily, I had an extra hour. So I went back to the house and I got the ID. And I got back within like 10 minutes before my race started. It was actually really close as well.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for me, my stomach was hurting really bad for some reason that day. So, and because I got there so close to the start of the race, I couldn't use like the porta potty or anything beforehand. And I kind of didn't need to at first. It was just like I had kind of cramps or whatever in my stomach. And then, so that first lap at like mile 3 of the 6, I felt like I was like, okay, I may need to just get off the trail and try and shit in the woods because my stomach is killing me. And for whatever reason, I have never once had to go to the bathroom. I've had to pee in the woods, but I've never once had to do a number 2 in the woods yet while I'm running. And, I've done 100-miler, I've done 100, we've done longer races.
So lucky. I don't know how his body has not had to, because I have like so many times.
By myself too, yeah. And so I was really, kind of anxious and not feeling good about all that. And I wanted to kind of go a little bit faster. So I was hoping to have a pace that was right around like 8:30 to 9 minutes per mile for this is what I was kind of hoping to do. Because like I said, I do run this area a lot, so I know what I should be able to run. And that was kind of the goal was, around that kind of time. So anyways, I was able to hold on for the first lap. And then at the end of the first lap, I got to the porta potty and I was like, all right, I'm just going to do a full reset and, try and clear out the poison inside of me. And so that's what I did. I probably spent 5 to 10 minutes in the porta potty just dealing with it and trying to get it out of me. And it was one of those times where it didn't really feel like it was out of me. I still was like, I don't know how this next lap is going to go. But I was just like nothing had happened for a couple minutes. And I'm like, all right, screw it. Like, I'm in a race and I'd like to kind of do well. And so I was like, forget it. We'll do it live. And off I went. So luckily my stomach settled down and I felt okay. And I was off. And surprisingly enough, I didn't see Courtney.
Yeah, I didn't see you at all.
So, because we were running on the same course doing loops, and I was figuring either if I'm really fast, I'll run into Courtney, or if Courtney's really slow, she'll run into me.
Yeah.
One of those two, because, it was either I was going to pass her or she was going to come around me. So, neither of which happened. So, that kind of meant both of us were just kind of doing okay, I suppose. And so the rest of my race was fine. I didn't have any issues or anything. I wanted to kind of be a little conservative the first 2 laps, and the last lap push it a little bit harder. And I didn't really do that. I just kind of was gassed the last lap, but I held on okay. And so I think my pace ended up being like 9:20 or something like that. So it was a bit higher, but I attribute that, if you were to remove the 5 to 10 minutes that I spent in the bathroom, then I probably would be right around that like 8:50 to 9 range or something like that, I think. So overall, I was pleased with that race. I love that race. It's really cool, and I volunteered at it last year. I'll probably either volunteer or do it again next year. That's just one that I'll probably go to every year because it's definitely like a small town vibe. There's not a lot of people there. It is a rain shadow running race, and I think the last podcast I was like, I'm never doing a rain shadow running race again because they're water, blah, 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 blah. And I just didn't drink the water.
I was going to say, I don't think you even drank their water.
Didn't drink the water. And
you hardly ate anything either.
But man, their shirts, they're probably my favorite shirts, even though they're not the Territory Run Co. branded shirts that a lot of other companies are starting to use.
That was a nice shirt.
They have cool designs. Like, you may be able to see if you're watching this. The Sun Mountain one up here, like the wolf with the mountains on it. And I think maybe it was Y East was a bear or something. Like they have a lot of cool designs. So whoever's doing their designs for their logos for the races, good job because it looks cool. So, do you have anything else to say about Millie?
I really liked Millersylvania. I think I liked it so much because for me, it didn't feel like a race. So I wasn't really like nervous at all going into it. It was a 10K. It was like 6 miles. Really, it was like 5.7, which was kind of a bummer at the end because I was banking on it being like 6 point whatever miles. And so the first 3.5 miles, I ran the whole thing, and then I started to get a little bit gassed. And so I think I walked for like not too long, but like a little bit. And then at the end, I started to get gassed again. And then I walked a little bit, but then I realized I was at the finish. So that was kind of a bummer because I still thought I had like a half a mile left. And then I saw the finish and was like, well, crap, I could have ran this whole thing and not walked at all. But it was fun. It just felt like training run for me, really, just because that's where we get a lot of our miles in. So, and I think I was like middle of the pack. I don't really remember much. And I don't have my results to look at. They're not pulled up. But I think I did pretty good on that one. I think I was like middle of the pack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked that race. I thought it was good.
Yep, I love it. It's a good race.
The only thing I didn't actually like about it though was the finish.
Right.
They just had like a little like
it was kind of weird.
You didn't run through anything. It was just like a cul-de-sac stop or something. Like it was just like a
it was all taped
marked off
ribbon
that you just like stopped at. That was kind of weird because it wasn't like satisfying to be able to run through it. It was just like, oh, weird.
Yeah, it was definitely the end was a little weird. And like I said, I don't like their water. I hate however they store their water. The aid station is whatever. Wasn't that great, but
I didn't see any of that.
They just had the one aid station, so each loop you could get to the aid station once. So, but their post-race stuff is always good.
Yeah,
like
I think I bought a hat,
pizza and stuff like that.
And a shirt.
Oh, and they had free drinks, those fizzy.
Oh yeah, that reminded me of high school. The apple drink that I drank, and then you had a raspberry or something.
Yeah, those were pretty good. So.
Izzy's or something like that.
You know, maybe I take back some of what I said about Rain Shadow in the previous episode. Although their water still disgusts me, but
he is picky, though. To be fair,
I won't deny it. Okay, so that's Millie. If you got anything else,
I'm good.
Okay. So Millie ends, and then we go on vacation.
Oh my gosh!
So we went to Colorado, planning to do the Never Summer 100K.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for me, around this time,
man, we did miss a lot.
Yeah. Well, and it probably happened at the Millersylvania race, but I think it was either the next day or the day after I ran somewhere. Oh yeah, I was just running on the Western Chehalis Trail, which is a paved bike path, and so. Because I wanted to build up my just normal running endurance a bit. Because, like I said, I had ran 17 miles continuously for that Millersylvania for the most part. I mean, I had to stop and take a bathroom break at mile 6, but then I was running the entire time. I didn't walk any of that, even up the hills and stuff. So I was hoping to get some speed work, quote unquote speed work. Really just running kind of threshold runs. More or less around my house. And on one of those days, probably like 3 or 4 days actually after Millie, I was doing an 8-mile run. And I think at like mile 5, my Achilles like started to ache really bad and it felt like strained. And so I kind of was like walking for a bit. And then maybe like a mile away from my house, like when I was transitioning from walking to running, it just like kind of tore is what it felt like a little bit. And I was like, well, shit, because that hurt. And it felt really bad. And I was like, man, at that point I couldn't like move without it feeling like it was kind of like strained or something. And so I was like, all right, well, I either have a little tear or strain or something on it, and that ain't good. So I walked home, and then I don't think I ran for 2 weeks straight. And then I started to walk, kind of run a little bit, like slow running, like just on trails. And so I pretty much had a whole month where I think I was under 100 miles. That
July was a pretty bad month for me in general because I wasn't running it really at all. And that was when I was supposed to do the Never Summer 100K. So when that rolled around towards the end of July, I guess it was, or middle of July actually, it kind of sucked because, we flew out there. It was in the Never Summer Mountains. We flew out to Denver, and then we stayed in Boulder for one night, and then we just kind of hung around. And all the way up until that week, I pretty much was planning on doing the race if I could. But this race was it was too difficult to go into without having trained pretty much at all. It was just like, I forget the specs now, but it's a brutal 100K that averages above 100,000 feet or above 10,000 feet of elevation. So the altitude is kind of crazy if you're not used to it, which, I'm a lowlander boy living at sea level for the most part. So that would have been rough for me probably. And I was like, okay, there's a ton of climbing, which I hadn't been climbing all that much. And so it just seemed like I was setting myself up for failure. And in a race like that, where it's pretty remote too, I didn't want to be like 10 miles from an aid station and then, have an issue or my Achilles flare up and I can't really do anything. And so I figured it was probably best to just call it. And then we turned that, what was going to be kind of a runcation into just a road trip down to, so we still flew into Colorado because I had already paid for the tickets and everything. But then we flew there, rented a car. We did go up to Boulder for a day and had some of the best food that I've had in a really long
Pearl
time.
Street. What pub was that?
I have no idea.
Some random pub. We got Devil's Horseback or Horseback?
Devil's on Horseback?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what?
Dates?
Stuffed dates. Well, it's stuffed with feta or goat cheese or whatever.
Wrapped with bacon.
Wrapped with
sauteed
bacon.
in like
this garlic kind of, I don't know.
It was really good
stuff. Yeah, it was super, super good. And it was great. We had mac and cheese with that too. That was also really good. Everything was great. So
yeah, that was fun. Carlsbad Caverns.
Yeah, so we wanted to go down to New Mexico because we hadn't been there yet. And we've heard a lot of great things about it. And so we had planned to go to Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado and then just kind of slowly work our way down south to New Mexico. And that's kind of what we did. I mean, when I say slowly, I don't really mean slowly because we only had like 4 or 5 days because we were, going to do the race and we were spending a day in Boulder before and a day in Boulder after the race pretty much was the plan. So we really didn't have too much time. And then unfortunately, when I was in New Mexico, I got a call from my work and it was just going to be way easier for this business trip I had to take if I flew out of Denver as opposed to flying back to Seattle and then out because I had to fly into Indianapolis. So anyways, that kind of ruined or messed up the vacation a little bit because then I was, focused on work to some extent because I had this project I had to go deal with. And so we had some fun in New Mexico. I don't know. New Mexico was definitely a bit of a disappointment for me overall. I thought it was going to be a lot cooler than it was. And we also kind of got screwed on the timing
weather,
because we were rushed.
There was like thunder and lightning pretty much the whole trip as well.
Yeah, we wanted to go out and do some of these hikes and stuff because while my Achilles was hurting a little bit, like I was still hiking and I could kind of, run downhill and stuff like that okay without feeling any pain or anything like that. I just didn't want to push myself. And so we were planning on hiking and having some fun. And we did do a couple different hikes, but for the most part, it was pretty fucking scary because the lightning and thunder was crazy.
There was also this really crazy hailstorm that we got stuck in. Where were we?
Oh, yeah. We were in Rocky Mountain National Park.
Okay. And yeah, it was probably like 7 minutes or so just of like straight hail. And
yeah,
you
it was
couldn't
so
see
thick.
the road. You couldn't see, it was insane. It looked like it had snowed on the road afterwards.
Yeah, it was truly insane. So, yeah, that was a really fun trip. It was really compact because we did a ton of stuff. We went to Rocky Mountain National Park, the Sand Dunes National Park or whatever
we did go there.
Southern Colorado. And we went to the White Sand
That was
National
cool.
Monument or whatever, National Park in New Mexico, which was really cool. And then we went
Tried
to
to go to
Carlsbad.
Tent Rock. That was closed at 4.
Yeah, that got closed. Guadalupe Mountain National Park was pretty much closed on us. But Carlsbad was
The
really the
best.
gem. That was
Yeah,
super,
that was.
super cool.
We almost didn't do it too.
Yeah, that made the trip, was going to Carlsbad
Yeah.
Canyon. So that was really fun. We took the elevator down. If you haven't been there before, you have the option to take an elevator all the way down to the bottom of the cave, or at least down to one section of the cave. And so we took the elevator down. We walked all the way around that area, and then we took the trail or whatever, the cave system, back up. So we got a bunch of climbing, which was nice.
It was really hard for me.
So, because I think it's like 2,000 feet in like 2.5 miles or something, maybe, or 3 miles.
And
The
I
specs on that are
hate
probably
bats.
wrong, but oh yeah, and there's definitely a lot of bats and stuff that were flying in and out, and it was just super cool. I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it was definitely cool.
I had been to Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky, but I didn't get to walk the cave system because I went there after hours, but that's the closest I came. But it was really cool. So that made the whole trip worth it. That was really fun. And of course, Boulder is awesome. I like Boulder. I would live there if it wasn't so expensive, and it's pretty hip. Pretty hip
Yeah,
for
it
me,
is
but-
pretty hip. It was
Okay.
fun though.
So that's the explanation behind why I didn't do Never Summer 100K, which sucks because, I mean, for one, it wasn't a cheap race to sign up for. So, and I,
And on
get
top
out
of
there
that, we
and
had a
everything,
vacation, so
had to buy
double the
flights and
money.
stuff, and so yeah, that kind of sucked. Wasted a lot of money there, but maybe next year. It's something. It's definitely on my bucket list because that's a really cool area. It just seems really, really hard, but yeah. But oh god. Okay, so next up, June, July. August was a biggie. We had a bunch of stuff in August, so we didn't originally have a bunch of stuff. So the first thing that I did, because I didn't do Never Summer, I signed up for a race called Little Backyard Adventure. And this is the closest a race will ever be to our house. Because it's seriously like 1 minute away from our house.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what is this race?
So for those that don't know, we live in Lacey, Washington, which is actually right outside of Olympia, Washington, the capital of Washington State. And so there's a little park, which actually I think belongs to Olympia, but it is really close to Lacey. And it's called LBA, which I think actually stands for Little Baseball Association. I think it has to do with baseball. But anyways, so there's a race that was put on there by, it's a company I think called like Backyard, or I should probably
Did
know.
they
It's
just started?
Backyard Association or something, or Backyard
This
Adventures.
was their
or-
first race that they had, though, right?
I think so. Anyways, it's a local company, and I think the guys sell books and maps and maybe, I don't know. Anyways, yes, first race put on by these guys, as far as I'm aware. At least, definitely the first time they've put on this race. And so, this is a cool one because it's in this really small little wooded area. This park that's, like I said, really close to our house. It's like a couple minute drive. And so I wasn't planning on doing it because I think it was the week after Never Summer. No, that's probably not right. No, it's the week before Squamish. I think that's
It was
what it was.
August 4th, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the week before Squamish. So I didn't want to do it because I was like, I didn't want to get burned out or whatever. But I hadn't really ran at all until then. And with Squamish looming, I was like, okay, I need to get out there and at least use this as a training run. So that's what I did. I signed up for it. And it's a lot like Millersylvania in the sense that it's just, a looped course in this really small park. This one is even smaller than Millersylvania. And so this one was 3.5-ish mile loops. And I did the 3 loop. So you could do the 1 loop, the 3 loop, or the 5 loop. And I did the 3. And I did it by myself. Courtney wasn't there.
I was on a camping trip with my family.
Yeah. Bet you had fun with that.
Yeah.
So I had a great time at LBA. I think I actually did pretty good there too. So I got 7th place out of, I think, like 100 people, or maybe not, maybe fewer, I don't know. 6 male. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. What I really liked about that race, so they did a couple of really cool things at this race.
You won a raffle.
Yeah, I won a raffle, which was exciting.
Could have been really cool.
Yeah, it could have been cool. What was nice about this race, though, is okay, so they had the packet pickup the night before, which I love it when races give you that option because I hate having to get there early. And so they had a packet pickup and they had a cool goodie bag, and the packet pickup was at REI, which was nice. And they had a coupon for like 25% off of one REI branded item or something like that. So that was really nice. And this race was cheap. It was like $50 or something. And so the packet pickup was really nice. The pre-race stuff was cool. What I really, really liked, and was probably my favorite thing about the whole race actually, was I had mentioned this is in a very small little park. And so what they did was they made a bunch of Strava segments. So if you don't know,
Oh yeah,
Strava has this option to create segments, which can be whatever distance, whatever length, and you can title them whatever you want. And then it's basically like a leaderboard of whoever goes the fastest on those certain segments. And so, anyways, the race organizers set up a bunch of these segments, and at least I think it was co-race directed. I think there's 2 guys. The guy that I was talking to was Matthias, and he was a really cool dude. And I told him, I was like, yeah, that was my favorite part about it. And he said that they originally started to make all the segments because when they were doing the course marking, it was just an easy way, I guess, to keep track of like who did what and where and stuff when they were laying out the course. So I thought that was really neat, and it made it really fun because they put up little signs at the start of each segment. So you're like, oh, cool, I'm on, the segment, which is called like All Along the Water Tower or whatever. And it showed you that you were on it. So I don't know, I just thought that was really neat. I hadn't seen that at a race before. And again, this is like a really small kind of hometown vibe to it. It was awesome. I had a really good time. It was one of my favorite races I've done this year, actually. And so they actually had 2 aid stations here. So every like mile and a half, you pretty much could get aid, which was
that's nice.
And yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. I just went there in the morning, did it, and then went home like right after because I didn't want to really hang out there. But yeah, I had a good time. It was fun. And that is LBA, or Little Backyard Adventure 3 Loop. So this is a condensed post-race podcast where you get a bunch of different races all put into one. So that was that one.
And that's not what LBA stands for?
No, I think it's Little Baseball Association.
Okay.
I think that's what it stands for anyway. So that was a nice little kind of training run, pre-race thing to lead into Squamish. So the elusive Squamish 50. So I had signed up for the 50 mile, and being an injured piece of shit that hadn't really trained much, I decided I would drop to the 50K because they gave us that option, which actually takes place on the Sunday. So we drove up. I unfortunately couldn't get a hotel anywhere near Squamish. Like, the closest I could get was Vancouver, which sucked.
Yeah, that
was a horrible drive. So we fucked up in a number of ways, but basically we drove up Saturday and it took all day. So like I said, we live in Olympia, which is south of Seattle. So we drove from Seattle up into Canada through Vancouver up to Squamish. And I mean, that must have taken us like 8 hours.
Yeah.
And we really screwed up because we checked in at our hotel first into Vancouver. So we got stuck in the traffic in Vancouver. Oh, and that was a nightmare. So anyways, because we wanted to do the packet pickup, early. So we went out to Squamish, we did that, got back to the hotel pretty late. It was probably like 10 or something like that by the time we actually got back. And then we had to wake up super early because it was like a 2-hour drive almost, depending on the traffic.
And the race started early too.
Yeah, the race started at 6:15 a.m. And so I think we woke up at 3:30.
Yeah.
So I probably got like 3 hours or so of sleep. And I felt like total shit. And it just was not looking like it was going to be a good day. And there was so many fucking people. And so, if you stuck around and watched all of our episodes, I think it was our second episode with my Squamish 50/50 DNF. And, well, spoiler alert here, I DNF'd the 50K here because, a number of factors. Mainly, I was tired and my ankle actually started to hurt. So on the 50K, you actually do Galactic Shiza, a lot sooner than the 50 miler. And so Galactic Shiza is really gnarly climb. That's whatever it is. I forget the specs on it, but it's like 1,000 feet per mile almost that you're doing, or maybe more in some areas. And so right when I was starting that climb, my Achilles was like feeling really tight and sore. And I was like, oh shit, I don't want it to like pop. And so I took it really, really easy. Like I think my heart rate was like around 100 the whole time I was climbing that because I was just trying to not feel any pain or anything like that. And so pretty much when I got to the climb, I felt good. I was going way slower than I wanted to for a number of reasons. Mainly because of the ridiculous conga line of people that, I
really don't know why they don't separate it based off of your speed or...
Yeah, they need to... it sucks, but...
Well, didn't you say there was like 500 people that did this race, just the 50K? Because it was over 1,000 for both races.
Yeah, there was
like
a
1,500.
ton of people. And so, the first... Jesus, I don't even know, like 3 or 4 miles.
And in perspective, it's like 200 people for a race normally when it's like a pretty big race. Like it's about 200 people. So to have that many people is insane.
Well, especially when you get on single track pretty quick, it's bad because you're just standing in line waiting to get on the trail.
Bike path, like a biker's track.
Yeah, a lot of it's mountain biking trail, but yeah, it was not the funnest start to a race that I've had. And again, take it with a grain of salt because I was extra grumpy because I had only had 3 hours of sleep and I just drove for like 2 hours to get there
and they had a drop off. I couldn't even see him start the race. Like you had to just like pull your car around, drop them off, and leave.
Yeah, they had a new start this year in a new place, Alice Lake, where you had to either take a bus or get dropped off. And
so he had to wait like 35 or 40 minutes before the race started.
Yeah, it was just was not a good start to a day. And so, I had, a pissy attitude already because of, the lack of sleep and things just weren't going that great. And the weather was supposed to be like cold and it ended up being pretty hot. So I was dressed pretty bad. I had like a black sweatshirt on and it ended up getting really hot. And
they said it was supposed to rain.
It's supposed to be,
like
potentially rainy and
rainy.
like in 50s or 60s. And it was like
75 and sunny.
Yeah, it got pretty hot pretty quick. So, but the real reason I pulled the plug, or at least what I was telling myself, was because of my ankle. And I really, really didn't want to have it be any worse than it already had been in the past. And I was like, okay, if I'm feeling any kind of pain when I get to the top of Galactic Shiza, then I'm pulling the plug. Like I'll take it easy on my way down, just get to the Quest Aid, which is the halfway point pretty much. And that's where Courtney was waiting for me. And I was like, I'm just going to, if my ankle hurts at all, if my Achilles hurts at all after that, then I'm pulling the plug. And it did. It still was kind of hurting. So I pulled the plug. I was like, all right, well, it was a good training run, I suppose. And then we just drove back home and it took fucking forever to get home.
Seriously, we got stuck at the border and it was like a 2.5 hour wait or something like it was insane.
Yeah, crossing the border.
There was somebody that had ice cream that they were like handing out. You had to pay for it obviously, but that's how long the wait was.
Yeah. So Squamish got me again, 2 years in a row. I don't know if I'll go back there, but maybe.
The environment just seems really cool, but I don't know. I haven't done the trails, and so I have no idea. But like from the first experience to this experience, the first experience for me, like just being like a spectator and like seeing everything, I don't know what it was that year, but there was a lot of really mean people that were volunteering. This year was nothing like that. Like there was a lot of really nice people this year. I didn't come across anybody mean. The volunteers seemed really nice, super awesome. But it just seems like a nice, fun event, but I have no idea. I don't know. The trails, like from what you say, don't sound fun.
Sections of them are fine. The trails in general are okay. They remind me a lot of Capitol Forest.
I just really hate bike trails. I hate biker trails because my feet, like with the divot in the trail, I don't like that.
They're not really rutted out that bad, but yeah, I mean, in general, there's parts of the race that are really cool. It has some aspects of like a bigger road race. This is definitely what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I could see that.
But it's so far it's not for me. But
I thought the after party was cool. I mean, we didn't really get to experience it, but like going to pick up your packet, like it just felt like a really cool vibe to me.
Yeah, that's true. And they did have some good swag. I got this cool shirt.
And somebody did a 3-second handstand and got a vest.
I don't know what the protocol is for wearing shirts of races that you didn't finish, but I'm starting to get good at it. So that was that. That was Squamish.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. It kind of sucked. And of course, it's still cupless.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. I haven't checked their website recently to see if they've actually updated it to say that it's cupless, but well, they should if they don't. Okay, so that brings us all the way back around to what we did yesterday. I mean, the day before.
Saturday.
Yes.
Roots, rock, around the clock.
Yep. So
last man standing.
Yep, this was a last man standing event, and the first time both of us had partaken in that.
Yeah.
So this took place in Port Gamble, Washington. I keep saying Gramble because as a joke. I don't know why. I keep saying Port Grambles. And now I want to actually say that when I say the name of Port Gamble. So anyways, Port Gamble is kind of, if you're looking at Washington, it has the peninsula on the left-hand side of it. Well, it's on the east coast of that peninsula, kind of up towards the top of it. Yeah, kind of. And so anyways, yeah, it's up there. And neither of us had ever been there. I'd never been there, never been really around it. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
I think my uncle lives somewhere around there. I don't really know.
I guess one of us has been there.
I mean, not to Port Gamble, but like around the area, probably. I'm not great with directions, so maybe not.
I think you would have just said no then.
No, I feel like I have.
So you've seen it.
Not Port Gamble, but yes.
Okay, whatever. So anyways, we knew nothing about this race other than...
you run 3 miles and then you stop every hour.
Yeah, this one was kind of interesting because the distance is pretty short.
Yeah.
It's only 3 point whatever. It's a 5K pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's roughly a 5K. So a 5K every hour is like, you can walk like 19 minutes per mile pretty easily. So how is this going to work out? And so we pretty much, both of us went into it with just the goal, I think, of just doing 8 hours, which was about a marathon. And if you did the 8 hours, you got a medal. And so we were both like, all right, well, that's what we'll do. I think I have one. Yes, so spoiler alert, we did it. And that is the medal that you get. And it's all right. They didn't show you what the medal looked like beforehand, so you didn't know. And if you're just listening to this, it's pretty much just a piece of wood with a sticker
on it.
It's kind of a cool design, though. So, yeah, it's all right.
You got a shirt as well. I mean, this is
Yep, Courtney's wearing the shirt that you get. So
the shirts are a lot better than the medals. They don't fit very well, but they're nice.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, anyways, that's what you got if you ran for 8 hours. If you ran for 24 hours, you got a belt buckle, and the winner gets $100. So that's kind of the concept. And essentially, if you don't know what a last man standing is, you do some distance. So in this case, you would do a 5K every hour on the hour. And so if you ran that 5K in 30 minutes flat, you have 30 minutes to just chill and get ready for the next one. And then if you wanted to run it in 59:59 and then just keep going pretty much, if you got 1 second to spare, that's okay, so long as you go on the next lap. So that's pretty much the concept. And you just do that until you're the last one left, or whoever is the last one. And in this particular one, as with most, whenever you were the last person, you have to do one more to be, like if somebody comes up and says, I'm dropping, and you're the last one left, you still have to do one last loop to be the winner, at least at this race. So that's the idea, which sounds really cool on paper. And we were like, great, this seems like a nice first race. It's not that far away from our house. It's like an hour and a half away. So yeah, it seemed pretty cool. And we decided to sign up for it kind of last minute. And so that's what we did.
And it started late, which was really good. It started at 10 a.m. And so that was nice because we didn't have to get a hotel the night before. We could just wake up at like 7:30, hit the road, and then get there. We got there, I think, at like 9:15, which was pretty perfect because they started doing all the announcements at 9:30 for it, which really was like 9:45. And then, the race started exactly at 10 o'clock. So, and we got a really nice parking spot as well. It was pretty full when we got there, but we kind of did a loop around and ended up being right at the finish. So what was nice was anytime we came around on that loop, we could just walk over to our car and grab whatever we needed. So
yeah, we had a nice spot, and that's what pretty much everyone did is they set up like their own little aid station right outside of their car.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And there was a lot more people than I was expecting.
There was about 55 people or more, really.
Yeah, and it seemed to be something either put on by the people that do the CrossFit. Or there's definitely a huge CrossFit influence going on there.
Yeah. One of the guys that was like part of the gym was like the race director or something. So
makes sense. Yeah, we know almost nothing about this race, so forgive us for not knowing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess, leading up to it, I went to Walmart the day before, bought a bunch of snacks and stuff to put in the cooler and all that. And so we had a nice little aid station laid out for ourselves. And so strategy wise, did you have a strategy going into this?
No, actually, I didn't have a strategy. I was going to do the first lap. What my strategy was, which was terrible, was I was going to do the first lap like the fastest I could to see how fast I could be. Because I knew that it was going like that would be the fastest that I could go, and then to see how much time I'd have left. But then in the first lap, I was really mad. Like I couldn't find my phone.
Hissy fit of the century.
Yeah, it was bad. I couldn't find my phone, and I really wanted to listen to a podcast, and you can't listen to a podcast if you don't have your phone. And so starting the race out, I was not in a good mood, and that kind of made me want to run faster, which wasn't great. And then I think about halfway or like maybe like a mile or so in, I thought I was like trying to look for David while I was running, and I was like, wow, he like took off like crazy because I don't see him anywhere in front of me. And then probably about a mile in was when I realized he was just walking. And so I was like, that's probably a smart idea. I should probably just do that. And so the first loop was my fastest, or like maybe my second fastest. And that was partly just because I ran a good majority of the beginning of the race, or I guess the loop. And then after that, every loop after, I walked for about a mile and then ran for about 2. So anything that was like relatively hilly or flat, I was walking.
Yeah, that's pretty much in line with my strategy. I mean, I in my mind, I was just like, okay, efficiency and recovery, like that's all I'm thinking about. Because again, in this race, it doesn't matter how fast you finish the lap. It's like you could finish whenever you want. You just have to start the next one. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I would like to do 8 laps, which is like a marathon. And really, I would like to have about 20 minutes left each lap to be able to, get ready for the next one, whether I needed to change my clothes or if I wanted to like down a whole can of Mountain Dew or something and give myself a little time to digest. So that first lap was maybe my slowest. I don't remember. It was one of my slower laps for sure, because the first lap, I also wanted to just kind of really take it in and observe the course and see, where I should be going faster or slower or whatever. And so I was trying to make a mental note of like, okay, there's like a mile downhill here. There's a mile up, whatever. So I was trying to kind of plot out the course in my mind and like where I thought it would make sense for me to run and walk and, or power hike or whatever. And so after that first lap, I had it mapped out pretty good in my head, like what I wanted to do and where I wanted to like run or walk. And really what's funny is there was only 2 other guys, I think, that were doing the same thing I was doing. And the guy in the blue shirt and then the guy in the green shirt.
I don't remember green shirt.
It was like a zip up. He was really skinny. But either way, those guys had the right idea. And so I was hoping that with that strategy, I would feel at the end of 8 laps, I would feel like I could keep going really easily. That was kind of what I wanted to feel like. Because again, I didn't bring a headlamp or anything, so I knew I wasn't going to go into the night. This was like 8 laps is the training, and that's what we're doing. And then we're going home and maybe eating. So that was kind of my strategy. And I mean, I was picking blackberries and stuff on that first lap and a couple other laps. And so I talked to a couple people a couple times. Like I talked to the blue shirt guy a little bit. I talked to a couple different girls. But it was mostly just like, oh, what are your goals? You know, what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
Like, are you going for the 8? Are you going for the 24 or whatever? And so that was pretty much it. I mean, it was somewhat uneventful for me because I would just, for the most part, I mean, I was right around that like 35 minutes to 40-minute mark. And so I would do that. And then I would go and I would either, every other lap, I was drinking a Mountain Dew. Well, never mind. I drank 2.5 Mountain Dews, I guess.
I think I did as well.
So, and that was pretty much all I ate or drank. Like that was my calories for those 8 hours was 2.5 Mountain Dews, a strawberry applesauce. Yeah, but that only has like 20 calories. That was just caffeine really. But I did have a Rockstar as well. And I think that's all I ate. Oh, I tried one of those Kit Kat things. That had 2 little tiny Kit Kats. It was bullshit.
It was like a Kit Kat cluster pack or something in it.
Yeah, it was a snack pack or whatever. And it had like these tiny little chunks of Kit Kat. And there was only 2 of those chunks. It was crazy.
And it was called Kit Kat, by the way. So 2 in a little packet is kind of silly.
Totally bogus. And I was like, because my plan was like, oh, sweet, I'm just going to eat the Kit Kats out of this because that's what I was craving at the time. And there's only 2 of them. I was like, they got me. So yeah, I mean, for my race, I stuck steady with that. And I mean, I think the longest a lap took me is when I went that 1 lap with you, which was like 50 minutes maybe. And which actually was kind of nice because then the lap after that was my fastest lap. I think I did it in 31 minutes or something. And so I had a really nice break on that last, second to last lap or whatever. So, I mean, for the most part, yeah, I was within, 30 to 40 minutes every time, except for one of the 8 when I was with Courtney the whole time. And the last one, I think I was over that too, because I was with you for the first bit.
He's just saying I'm really slow.
No, I mean, it doesn't matter how fast you go. I mean, it's the beauty of this kind of race, which is why it's also kind of cool because it doesn't matter if you're fast or slow. Like everyone is somewhat equal in the sense that you just have to get to the next lap. So no, I mean, you can go whatever pace you want.
Yeah, and I did.
And so, yeah, I mean, at the end of the 8, I felt great. Like I felt like I could have kept going for at least another 8 laps probably. But I think I could have done the 24 pretty easily. Because, I mean, I felt fine yesterday, and I just went on a run. I got back from a run, and we're filming this right now. So, I mean, I feel fine, which is really good because I need to, because Tahoe is right around the corner. So,
yeah. So for me, I did not feel fine. I haven't ran.
Here we go again.
I think.
Good old no training.
Well, I didn't really have any races. I totally forgot that we had even signed up for this, and I don't have another race until October.
We signed up for this like a week ago.
Really?
What do you mean you forgot?
Maybe that's why I forgot.
The one in October is another Last Man Standing.
I know. I'm excited for it though, because I thought this was fun. But I didn't know what to expect going into it. I initially, like before we got there, was like, okay, if I do 4 laps, like I'll be happy because that's about a half marathon. Like that'll be good. And I hadn't ran. I signed up for Orange Theory, and so I was like super excited about that because I'd been running a little bit.
The end of Orange Theory.
It's really great. If you haven't done it, you should.
If you're literally a millionaire, then maybe
it's real expensive, but it's worth it. But I signed up for Orange Theory, and you're training a little bit, but not for like running training. But so I'm like doing like 10 miles for every week or something. I don't know what it is. But I'm not running outside. Like I'm just running on a treadmill, and it's like speed work, which is probably not great when you're trying to run longer distances. So I hadn't really ran. I'm trying to think of, I guess Millersylvania was like really like the last time that I had done anything over 5 miles, that is. So when I signed up for this, I didn't really know what to expect. Got there, and the first loop, like I said, I went out a little bit quick, but it was fine. Like you had a whole hour. So I think I got in with I think I did it in like 45 minutes or something. So I had like 15 minutes to spare, which was like perfect amount of time. You could sit for a little while, talk for a little bit, get a drink, eat whatever you wanted, walk around a little bit. If you had to use the bathroom, you could do that, change your clothes, whatever. So then the next lap, or even really, I think the next like couple laps, I felt pretty good. I didn't feel good from lap 4 on. So I think like the first 3, I was really excited that my body like didn't hurt super bad, considering I hadn't ran more than like 3 miles in a month. And then once I got to like lap 3, so like mile 9 or whatever it was, mile 10, whatever, my stomach was hurting like the whole beginning of the race for whatever reason. And it didn't really stop. And I was chafing really bad. So I think it's part of Orange Theory. You have to wear a heart rate monitor. And so I think that that's kind of messed up my chest a little bit and started to make me chafe, which I already had problems before. But that was a real bummer. It was hot out. I was chafing. So from loop 4 on, I just kind of was dealing with like chafing, having to reapply squirrel's nut butter every time, trying to dry off all the sweat. And I was going to change my pants, but I ended up just wearing the same pants the whole time. I changed my shirt at the 4th lap. But yeah, every time I came in about the same. Like I think the first 3, I had like 10 or 15 minutes. And then the last like 5, I think I had like 10 to like 8 minutes every lap, until I think the last loop, I think I had like 6 minutes or something. But I was dead. Like by the end of it, I think every time I came in after 4 or 5, I was like, yeah, I'm going to just stop. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm just going to stop. And then once I got to the start of the 7th, I told myself when I started the 7th, I was going to stop. But then at the end of it, I was like, you have one more and you could just walk it and finish and get the medal. And so that's what I did.
And you were going to be waiting there anyways.
Yeah. So, I actually really liked it. I was pretty proud of my body for holding up. Having not done any training at all, because my lungs felt pretty good the whole time. I didn't feel like I normally feel in a race where it's like my body doesn't hold up, but it's like I want to do it. Because this race, I felt pretty good where, I don't know, I did not feel like I could continue though. I didn't like, by the end of that, my feet were throbbing so bad that it like while David was changing, I was just sitting in a chair, and like if I had kept my feet still at all, like they just felt like if I cut them off, it would probably feel better. Like I had to like keep pounding them on the ground just because they were like hurting so bad. So that whole first night of sleep was terrible. But yeah, my feet, for whatever reason, just hurt so bad. And my hips. But other than that, I thought it was a really fun race.
Just your entire body was killing you.
I mean, I definitely am still sore. Like I would attribute that to like backcountry soreness. Like I was really sore. But it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah. Luckily, I feel great. So
he tried to tell me last night that he was so sore and that it just hit him because he wanted rubs.
And I got him.
He's a damn liar. I knew he was lying.
So, how did you like the format?
I loved it. So while I was doing it, I didn't enjoy it because I didn't really like, I'd say like the first 3 laps I really enjoyed. And then it started to get hard because my body started to hurt a little bit. And so it'd be hard sitting for like 10 minutes and then going back out. and trying to start to warm up again. But I think it was just the way the course was set up. The first like mile or so, it wasn't like continually uphill or anything, but it was like just not all downhill. Like the ending of it seemed to be a majority of like downhill.
I mean, so the entire course, I guess each loop had
360 feet of gain.
Really?
Yeah, 300. I looked at my watch. The very first loop, 360 feet of gain.
Okay, mine was a little bit less than that. It was like 310, but whatever, something like that. So over 300 feet per, so you're like 100 feet per mile average. Yeah. So it's not a flat thing by any means. So.
But I kind of enjoy that more. Like I like it when it's not all flat. I would rather it be like you're climbing a little, you're going downhill a little, you're kind of flat, you're climbing a little, versus it's just going to be a flat race.
Yeah. No, it was great. I liked the course a lot.
I did too. And it was really pretty. Like, we talked about doing Angry Owl. That was just like a crazy 1 mile loop that you had to do for hours. And that was not very pretty. Like it was just like a parking lot basically. So I kind of went into that, or into this with those expectations of like, this is just going to be like, I don't know, like someone's backyard or something. And it like to see the first loop, I was so excited that it was actually a trail and like a little bit hilly. So that was nice. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I had a lot of fun. It was really cool. It would be cool to have this as like an A race where you're willing to just go until you can't.
It kind of seemed like that's what people were doing. Like there was
there's
a lot of
a couple people in there that were in it to win it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a lot of people like us that were just like, I'm just here for my 8 laps and that's it. Now I'm going home.
And there was a lot of CrossFitters that had a 50th birthday party thing that they were like celebrating. So there was probably like 10 or 15 of them that just wanted to get in 5 loops for 50.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I talked to a lot of people on that race. Probably talked to like 15 people. There was like 6 girls that I talked to in the beginning. And I think actually quite a bit of those girls were just trying to get in the first loop. And so they dropped at like, I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd loop. And then there was a lady that I talked to that was part of the 50th birthday. And she was a really nice lady. But she fell on the very first loop and she really hurt her back. She was an older lady and she was super fit. CrossFit lady.
Yeah, it was cool because, I think there was 2 girls that was their first 5K.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and everybody got to celebrate for them because it was like, it was right at the end. One of the girls had like 1 minute to spare and the other girl had like 10 seconds to spare. Yeah. So it was really cool.
Yeah, no, it was a fun vibe, cool environment. I mean, everyone there was really nice. There wasn't anyone that was like shitty or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, people were tryhards, but they weren't mean about it.
Yeah, there's nobody that was like trying to push people out of the way or anything like that. So.
And there was a part on the course that I didn't like while it was happening, but looking back now, it was like a little out and back. But what was nice about it is when you weren't really pumped up, like you didn't really want to go out on the out and back, everybody was coming back and they were just really positive, giving you high fives and stuff. And so it was cool. You got to see everybody and see where they were at. And I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good time. So, I mean...
So I'm excited for the race in October.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what I'll be doing at that point. I don't know if I'll ever run again after Tahoe.
Is it the same like structure or is it like you just run?
No, it's the same. Last man standing.
But like it's not
every
like
hour on the hour.
Oh, okay. But how many miles?
I think this one's 4.
Okay.
The other one. So
cool.
That's pretty much it. That gets us up to current date. So there's like 3 or 4 months of podcast worth of podcast in this one episode. That's the same length as our other one. So we could have made it a lot longer. Could have talked a lot more about things in more detail, but
I have to head to work.
Courtney's got to go to work, and like I said, a lot of these races, it's like they either didn't happen or they were a DNF or whatever, or Millersylvania. It's just so short, and same with LBA, also very short. And same with this, the Roots Rocks Around the Clock. Even though it was really cool.
But those are almost but they're kind of fun because they're just so different from like a normal race.
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot, and I do think it deserves an episode, and this is as close as it's going to get to having its own episode. So, but maybe the next one, because we'll probably be taking that one a bit more seriously. maybe. I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mentioned it a little bit, but I mean, next up is Tahoe 200. That's the big boy. That is the A race. That is it. That's what's on the calendar.
Yeah.
So that's happening in
a week and 2 days.
Well, really, it starts in like just under 2 weeks. So it starts on the 13th, but we're leaving on the 11th. So shit's about to get real. So we might do a preview episode, Tahoe 200 preview, that we'll release.
Like your expectations and stuff, or what?
Everything. We'll just go over everything, like the plan, the expectations, go over all of it. So, I'll tell you right now, the expectations are very low, given how shitty I've trained the past 3 months. I mean, I have the furthest I've ran is in May. I did a 50K. So
he does have the time though.
What time?
2.1 miles per hour is how slow you can go.
So what? How does that? But I don't know if my body can withstand 100 hours of walking.
True. Yeah.
So.
You did say that for your 100 miler though.
Yeah, I barely made it. And I trained more for that than I did for this. So shit is not looking good. But who knows? Maybe we'll do a preview episode. Maybe not. Who knows?
He has a lot of friends helping too. I think it'll be a good time.
I have a lot of friends that can't run.
David, we're going to help.
Including you.
I can't run.
So, oh yeah. We'll do a preview. Maybe we'll get one of them on.
I thought that would be fun. Rodeo.
Maybe, if he's here. Yep. Maybe we'll do the night before we leave. Who knows? All right, well, let's wrap her up. For anyone who's stuck around this entire episode, I can't promise we're going to post more regularly because the plan behind this podcast really was to only make episodes based around races.
Yeah.
And so.
Post-race podcast.
Yeah. If we're not running, we're not making the episodes. Although.
If we're not racing.
Well, yeah. But again, if we're not running, we're not racing. Anyway, so.
Yeah.
I mean, we might do episodes. I don't know, I've thought about doing episodes about like race commentary. Like UTMB happened and you had your Courtney Dauwalter kicking ass.
Who I love, and David had doubts about her.
Well, who knows? Her hip was hurting or whatever. So
he said she would never run again. Look at her, she won.
Yep, that was good. So I think it would be cool to cover races that happen in the world that are, somewhat important, like the Western states and stuff like that. I think some of that would be kind of cool, but I don't want the show to become that.
Yeah.
So I like what we do right now. And I mean, I know nobody really listens to it. There's like less than 10 people that listen to it, but I think it's cool to have these and to be able to look back on it. Like going back and looking at my Squamish episode, because I watched some of that this year, and just seeing, where I was at and what I did wrong, and then repeating all those same things this time. So I think it's cool for just personal reasons to have kind of a digital library of our, race reports pretty much. So.
Do you know what's really crazy? It's exactly a year from when we started this.
Really? The 2nd of September?
Well, because my race was the 1st of September and we did it the next day. Backcountry Rise.
Damn, the 1-year anniversary. You heard it here first.
That's crazy.
That is really weird that we've been doing this for a year. It does not feel like it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's been fun though.
Yeah, it's been great. So we hope you've enjoyed it.
For the few listeners we have.
Yeah. Oh, what's weird is we've met people in real life who've listened to it, so it's cool.
And at a pretty crazy race.
Yeah. So we appreciate anyone who does listen. I don't know. We have no sponsors. There's nothing we want to promote or anything. I don't want you to follow me on social media. So best is going to happen is, watch my YouTube videos. And that's about it. You can follow Courtney, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching or listening. And we'll catch you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you.